The strangest confrontation of my life didn't happen in a war zone, didn't happen in a bar fight, didn't even happen on a dark street somewhere. It happened in the quiet lobby of my own apartment building with a bag of groceries in one hand and a woman standing in my way telling me I didn't belong there. Yeah, that actually happened. And the crazy part is, for a few minutes that night, a complete stranger honestly believed she had the authority to decide whether I had the right to walk into my own home. It was a Tuesday evening, nothing special about it. I had just gotten off work, stopped by the grocery store, grabbed a frozen pizza and a couple things for the week. The kind of routine night most people don't even remember afterward. I pulled into the parking lot of my building, Rivergate Lofts, 3 floors, brick exterior, pretty quiet place overall. I'd been living there almost 3 years by then, paid rent on time every single month, kept mostly to myself, said hello to neighbors in the hallway, you know how it is. Just trying to live a normal life after the army. I walked up to the lobby door just as another tenant was opening it. Blonde woman, yoga mat under her arm, headphones around her neck. She pulled the door open with her key fob and stepped inside. I caught the door before it shut and followed her in, which people in that building do literally every day. Nobody thinks twice about it. Well, nobody except her. The second the door clicked shut behind me, she spun around like she'd just heard a fire alarm. Her eyes locked on me, then narrowed like she was trying to solve a puzzle she didn't like the answer to. She stepped sideways right into the hallway, arms crossed tight, blocking the path to the mailboxes and elevators. "You don't live here," she said. No hello, no question, just a statement. I remember blinking for a second, thinking maybe I misheard her. "Ma'am, I saw you slip in behind me," she said, voice sharp now. "This is a private building." Now here's the thing about moments like that. When someone looks at you like you're a problem that needs fixing, you feel it immediately. There's this quiet shift in the air. I adjusted the grocery bags in my hand and kept my voice calm. Years in the Army will teach you that sometimes the calmest response is the smartest one. "I'm not sneaking anywhere," I said. "I live here, apartment 3C. She tilted her head slightly, almost amused. "I've never seen you before." I let out a slow breath. "I've been here about 3 years. "Uh-huh," she said. "People say that all the time." Now, right behind her on the wall was the building directory, one of those metal panels with every tenant's name listed next to their unit number. Mine was right there under 3C. "You can check the directory," I said, nodding toward it. She didn't even glance back. Not even for a second. That thing can be faked. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't about proof. This wasn't about safety. Her mind had already decided the story the moment she saw me walking through that door. Now, for a little context, my name's Marcus Hill. I'm 34 years old. I joined the Army when I was 18 because, like a lot of kids growing up without much money, I needed a way forward. 8 years in uniform, 2 deployments overseas, a few medals, I keep in a drawer somewhere. Nothing glamorous about it. Mostly long days, dusty roads, and the constant hum of helicopters. But it taught me discipline, patience, and how quickly a situation can spiral when fear and authority get mixed together. When my enlistment ended, I used the GI Bill, got a logistics degree, landed a steady job managing shipping operations for a supply company. It's not exciting work, but it's honest work. Apartment 3C was the first place I ever rented completely on my own, which is why standing there in that lobby with a stranger telling me I didn't belong felt surreal in a way I still can't fully explain. "I'm just grabbing my mail," I said. "Then I'm heading upstairs." "No," she said flatly. I raised an eyebrow. "No, you need to leave." For a second, I thought she might be joking. "Leave," I said. "I live here." "Then prove it." I almost laughed at that. "Ma'am, my name is on the directory. My mailbox key opens mailbox 3C. You could have stolen those." Yeah, that was actually her argument. So I set my groceries down, slowly reached into my pocket, and held up the small brass mailbox key. "You're welcome to watch," I said. But instead of stepping aside, she moved even closer to the mailboxes, blocking them completely. "Don't move," she said. "Are you serious right now? I'm calling the police." And just like that, she pulled out her phone. Now, if you've never been in a situation like that, you might think the obvious move is to just push past someone like that and go about your business. But here's the reality. When someone is already convinced you're the problem, any reaction can become the excuse they're looking for. Push past her and suddenly it's assault. Raise your voice and suddenly it's aggression. So I leaned back against the wall and said the only thing that made sense. "Go ahead." Her tone changed immediately when the dispatcher picked up. "Yes. Hi," she said quickly. "I'm at Rivergate Lofts on Madison Street, and there's a man who followed me into the building and refuses to identify himself. I feel unsafe." Followed me in. Refuses to identify himself. Unsafe. 3 carefully chosen words. I stood there quietly and waited. 5 minutes later, the lobby doors opened and 2 police officers walked in. One approached her, the other came over to me. "Sir, what's going on tonight?" "My name's Marcus Hill," I said calmly. "Apartment 3C. I came home with groceries. She believes I don't live here." They asked for ID. I handed over my driver's license. Address matched the building. Then I showed them the mailbox key and opened mailbox 3C right there in front of them. Bills, letters, junk mail spilling out like evidence in a courtroom. The officers exchanged a look. One of them turned back to the woman. "Ma'am, he lives here." Her face tightened. "He could have stolen those." "All of them?" the officer asked gently. "The directory listing, the ID, the mailbox key." She crossed her arms again. "He followed me in without using his fob." There's no rule requiring that, the officer replied, and blocking someone from moving in a common area can actually be considered harassment. For a moment, the lobby was completely silent. Then the officer looked at her and said something that stuck with me. "We're not taking sides," he said. "We're taking the side of the facts." After they documented the incident, they left. I grabbed my groceries and went upstairs. But here's the part people don't see in viral clips and headlines. When I finally got inside my apartment and set those grocery bags on the counter, my hands started shaking. Adrenaline always waits until the moment passes before it shows up. The next day, the building manager called me down to the office. They had already reviewed the lobby security footage. Every second of the incident had been captured. Her blocking the hallway, her rejecting proof, her calling the police. The manager shook his head and said something simple. "This violates our tenant harassment policy." I told him I wasn't looking for revenge. I just didn't want the situation ignored. Well, it didn't get ignored. She received a formal lease violation notice that week. And instead of letting it go, she doubled down. Sent emails to other tenants warning about suspicious people sneaking into the building, complaining that management cared more about political correctness than safety. A month later, she received a notice to vacate, eviction for repeated harassment. She threatened legal action. Lawyers reviewed the footage. Case closed. Marcus Hill still lives in apartment 3C today. Same building, same balcony, same quiet routine. And the woman who once tried to guard that lobby like it was her personal territory, well, she's long gone. Now here's the question I want to ask you. Do you think the eviction was justified? Or do you think management went too far over one incident? And have you ever witnessed something like this yourself? Someone deciding another person didn't belong somewhere based on nothing but assumptions? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every one of them, and stories like this always bring out some real conversations.